Some basic things in your home that I'm sure you guys have all heard a gazillion times, but I'll talk about them anyway, are securing your throw rubs, making sure your pathways are clear, organizing things in your home in a way that you don't have to reach high for them, lighting. They have all kinds of neat stuff now for your lighting. They have lights that you can, you walk in the room and the lights go on. They have those clap lights, those are pretty cool. They have lamps that you just touch at the base and they get turned on or off. What else do they have? Am I missing anything?
You can stick on the wall.
Oh yeah, those are pretty slick. And those are battery operated too, yeah. So those are nice for in case of power outage, then you can just go tap the wall and have your light, that's right. And flashlight, always of course keep flashlights that work nearby. And make sure, does anybody still have a landline or a phone that's attached to a cord? Okay, I do too. I do too, but people laugh at me. You still have your landline? But I do have my landline because I am afraid of natural disasters. And I know that in natural disasters, the cell phones are not going to work. And I'm going to be the only one in my neighborhood with a phone that works because I have a landline. So everybody's going to be coming over to my house using my phone. And I'm going to charge for it. Okay, back to in the house. Your towel rack and the rack that holds your toilet paper are not grab bars. They're not typically nailed into a stud, and they will fall out. And I have people say, yes, but I've been pulling on that for 15 years. Well, I'm going to guarantee you that in the next, I don't know when, but I'll guarantee you that you're going to pull that towel rack right out of the bathroom. Grab bars are a wonderful thing, and that's what should be used. Rails on your unguarded steps and stairs, and if you have rails already on your stairs, they should be in good working condition and not all wobbly. And raise the surfaces in your home. So the lower the surface is, the harder it is for you to get up and down from that surface. Anytime I sit and my hips are lower than my knees, coming into a standing position is going to be a challenge. Now, you can't go redo your whole house and all your furniture, but it's nice to have one place identified that is easy for you to get up and down from, so that if you do have some sort of event and you go home, you have a comfortable place to be. If you don't, you can always raise things up from the bottom. I did that for my dad when he hurt his back and raised up everything in the house. You can do it later, but it's something to think about. Okay, here's a doozy. Not using step stools and ladders. If you're over 60, really I'm going to say if you're over 50, you have no business being on a step stool, you have no business being on a ladder. And I'll tell you why. But if I fall from a step stool or a ladder, gravity is not my friend. Gravity will pull me back to the ground, back to earth, quicker than I want. That force increases exponentially. And when I impact with the ground, I've got velocity, I've got force, and 99.9% of the time, that fall is going to be life-changing, it's going to be devastating. It's not something I'm going to recover from quickly, and it's something that I will never really fully recover from, especially if I'm over 50. And the reason for that is those falls tend to lend to fractures that are very complicated and require pins and stays in acute care facilities with surgery and stays in skilled nursing facility and then a 3-month convalescent at home within another 6 months more of therapy to try and regain what mobility I used to have. So that's why I say there's really nothing up there to me that's worth taking that chance for. Just because those falls off ladders and step stools really are quite devastating. And to illustrate that point, I'm going to tell you a story about a gentleman I saw who was in his 80s. And knock, knock, knock on his door. Hello, Mr. Smith. My name is Starla. I'm the physical therapist. Your doctor's asked me to come by and see you. We sit down and I say, hi, I notice in your history of physical that you broke your hip. How did you break your hip? He says, well, I was putting my backpack away. I was standing on a step stool. I was putting my backpack in my closet, and I misjudged the step when I came down, and I fell and I broke my hip. Putting your backpack away? Really? Tell me more about that. Well, it had always been his dream to hike the Pacific Crest Trail. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a trail that goes from Mexico all the way into Canada. And he had just finished the last leg. He didn't do it all at once, but he kind of broke it up over the years. So that he had touched almost every part of the trail. And he had just finished the last piece. And he was so proud of himself. And he was putting his backpack away after this backpacking trip that he was on for 5 days. And he fell and broke his hip. This story illustrates somebody who's very sure-footed. Obviously, he's backpacking, has good balance and coordination, and good judgment. He must have good judgment. And yet, he fell and broke his hip. I think he's sorry he was using that step stool. So that's why I say stay away from step stools and stay away from ladders.